ain't messing around.
So this is the episode that we call the Loft Meeting, where we invite honorary roomies to come and talk about all things New Girl, all things 4D, all things about the Loft. Today we have the beautiful, amazing, and beloved Jessica Radloff with us. Jessica is the senior West Coast editor at Glamour and also the author of the New York Times bestseller, The Big Bang Theory, the definitive inside story of the epic hit series. And she was one of the first critics to profess her love for New Girl. She's going to talk to us about what makes New Girl special, what was going on when season 2 wrapped, and why we aren't seeing the mid-20s, early 30s sitcom featuring a group of friends that much anymore. Was New Girl the last one, or is there room for more bestie hijinks in the future? We're going to get into it. Let's go, roomies.
Jessica, how are you?
Oh, Lamorne, Hannah, that was the nicest, warmest welcome. Thank you so much. I'm so glad it was you doing it instead of Lamorne. I'm a little scared.
Yeah, if I did it, I would have been like, "Oh, she wrote this book, The Big Bang Theory. Like, when is she going to write the New Girl book? Oh, she doesn't love us."
Do you want me to write the New Girl book?
Mm-hmm.
I'll write the New Girl book if you want me to. Although I have to say, you have to be prepared for it. You got to think long and hard, because when I did the Big Bang Theory book, Jim Parsons spent over 20 hours with me. So you got to be prepared to go. It's like therapy sessions. You got to go deep. So think about it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I love it.
Duh. Again, I've got all the
I'll
juicy
feed you.
details too.
I mean, I want to know.
That.
I want to know everything.
Some jinkies.
So, but that's very sweet of you. It would be my honor
if
you guys wanted to do that one day. Because it only works when the cast is willing to go there.
Hey, listen, I'm totally down. I'm totally down as long as I get a certain percentage of royalties.
All right, well, we just need you two. That's it. The New Girl oral history with just Lamorne Morris and Hannah Simone. That's it.
I can speak for Jake. I can speak for Max and Damon.
Yeah,
I'll speak for Zoe and
because we talk all the time. I know exactly
Dave.
what they're feeling. And Hannah can speak for Zoe and all of the guest stars.
I mean, it's a great cover.
Yes.
Yes.
Why don't we reel all the way back to the beginning? Because I want to know your memories and your story of New Girl from your lens.
Yes.
Do you remember the first time you came on set or met us?
Yes. And I was going down memory lane last night because I was looking up all the old Glamour articles that we ever wrote about the show. I knew we covered the show a lot. I didn't realize how much we covered the show. It is really funny to see some of these old headlines. Also, I was like, now I know why Lamorne wanted me on to talk about season 2 as well, because in one article that we did, we actually said season 2 belongs to Winston, aka Lamorne Morris. I was like, there we go. That's what we said. And then also, I don't know if Lamorne remembers this, but you both were there. So we had Zoe on the cover of Glamour. I want to say it was like January 2013. And we honored her with a dinner. So this was right at the height of season 2. We honored her with a dinner. You and Lamorne were there. And the headline, I talk about, I was like, the coolest thing about Zoe Deschanel is we couldn't love her anymore because look what she does for her co-stars. Because Lamorne told me that she bought him a toaster oven with the Miami Heat label on it, and it made Miami Heat toast. And then also got him a sparkly backpack with the Miami Heat logo on it. And then after the dinner that night, he texts me the pictures of these items, of the toaster and the backpack. And it was just the funniest thing. I was looking back on all these things and I was like, okay, going back to 2011, 2012, I feel like I came up with you guys as well, because that was around the time I started at Glamour. So it's we all grew up together, and you guys, I mean, there's just nobody like all of you together. All of you individually are so talented, but you get all of you in a room and it's just all bets are off, because the camaraderie, everything was so good.
I still have, just want to clear this up for the folks out there. not a Miami Heat fan. I'm a LeBron James fan.
Yes, I'm sorry, LeBron.
But
that's right.
But they were Miami Heat items because at the time LeBron was playing for the Heat. I still have all those items.
Wait
have
a
I made
minute.
a grilled
Hold
cheese
up.
sandwich with this toaster?
Why would the toaster be involved?
Have I used the toaster?
Sandwich? This lets me know other people are making your grilled cheese sandwiches for you. Were you pre-toasting the bread before you make the grilled cheese? No, you're not. Now you're just doubling down on something you know that sounded crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, extra crispy. Extra crispy. Well, because Hannah, listen to what she just said. This is how I know you're not paying attention to the great Jessica Radloff. She just said that the toaster makes the Miami Heat logo imprinted on it. How am I going to do that in the pan?
On your grilled cheese. That's going to be a janky grilled cheese, bro.
So it can have the logo on it.
Jessica. That's right.
So
I want to
eat a
see
Miami
it now.
Heat grilled cheese.
We're going to need you to do this for the podcast, Lamorne. Can you please make this?
Yes, I will, because we need a little bit of that. I want to bring some South Beach to this sandwich.
This is what's happening.
You know what I'm saying?
I want some home cooking on this podcast now. And we should have a taste test.
The bread.
To see Lamorne's grilled cheese. I know. Or French toast.
What?
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Hannah doesn't cook.
I know. This is what we... But this is what we would write about. I remember back in the day, like, it just was so funny to see all these old articles and just the headlines. And by the way, this was really funny too, is that every time I would interview Zoe in the beginning of the series, she would always take my phone and take selfies with it. Now at the time, because this is 2012, we didn't know they were called selfies.
No way.
So in my articles, I refer to them as Zoe took my phone for a self-portrait because we didn't, like, selfies wasn't in our vocabulary really yet. So she would always take it. I didn't know what that was called. And I'm like, wow, like we were children back then. It was just so crazy. We like all grew up together and came of age with this show. That's why it's so special.
So we talked about how I was the hero of season 2. Thank you for saying so. That means a lot. That's just what the fans in the world say. That's just what God says. But at the end of season 2, Taylor Swift shows up, Nick and Jess, they run off together. Talk about the state of the
wait a minute, Lamorne, you forgot something huge there.
What? At the end of season 2?
Well, Taylor Swift shows up, but Hannah gets to share a scene with her. Like, that's amazing.
I didn't care. I wasn't there for that. And I'm so disappointed that they wrote it that way. They did not invite me to the party. Well, Hannah and everybody are living it up with Taylor Swift, getting free tickets, hanging out in her mansion,
this alternate universe,
taking trips on her private plane.
I'm not even going to correct you because I want it to come true. They probably go to
Chiefs games for free now.
Keep going.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I didn't get any of that fanfare. But talk about the state of the state of fandom at that point, because with us, and I want you to talk about it from your point of view. Because with us, we were working so much that we didn't really get a chance to go out and see it unless we were being honored at some gala or some event or things like that. And on our downtime, I just like to be at home for the most part. But every once in a while, you'd notice it from the fans on the street when you go out or do regular things. Talk about it from your standpoint of what it looked like being kind of behind the scenes and writing about it and, being on that side of the coin.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it was really almost the last great 20, 30 something romantic comedy sitcom that we had. And it was paired with the Mindy Project after the first season. So it was like appointment viewing. And we really hadn't had that in such a long time. And I really do compare in many ways the relationship between Winston and Schmidt and Nick with the trio that we had on Friends, with Joey and with Chandler and with Ross. Like the way that you guys all worked together was so great. And then of course it's like Hannah or Cece and Jess. It was kind of like Rachel and Monica in some ways. And I think aside from just the amazing acting and the writing, it was the way in which you all came together that made this so successful. And there was an audience for that because people were still also watching network television at the time. Now TV has changed so much. I mean, you guys came came about really before Netflix and the Hulus and all that really took over. So will we see that again? I'm sure we will at some point because everything is cyclical and, there's always a craving. But at the same time, I do think that people know if you can't do something right, there's no point in bringing that kind of genre back just for the sake of it. And some people have tried and it doesn't really work because what you guys did was lightning in a bottle, as they call it. And I learned that, especially from doing the Big Bang book, that you have to have so many components come together in order to make a show a hit. And you all had that. I mean, I don't even know how you guys memorized your lines because the dialogue that you had to memorize and the speed in which you said it was insane. I was trying to watch it with closed captioning even last night, and the closed captioning is a mess because it's just line after line on top of each other. And it's just, you just don't get that kind of speed and tone in a lot of these rom-com sitcoms anymore. So I do think it was kind of the last one of its kind. But I think it'll be back in a different form unless you guys bring it back as a reunion. I also found, this was funny, in one of my early interviews, Max Greenfield said to me that he was going to do a spinoff called Schmidt Happens. So I'm still waiting for that one. But yeah, it was really cool and fascinating to watch all of you just be so embraced by viewers. Because it really was the last kind of appointment television viewing at that time where every week you knew where to find New Girl. And also 25 episodes you did in season 2. Like that doesn't happen anymore. So you were in everybody's lives all the time, except for 2 or 3 months in the summer. And then we still have reruns back then too. So it was cool to watch. It was really cool to watch all of you just be embraced by all these fans and critical acclaim too. Like it wasn't just the fans, like you guys really, this was such a smart show that it's hard to find that.
I could see it coming back in a different style universe, in a different dimension, in a Golden Girls-esque dimension. Because at this point, I'm still the youngest in the cast.
You'd be Baby Blanche
so
for sure.
I probably wouldn't.
You would be a
Baby
Baby Blanche for sure.
I think the rest of the cast.
Oh, okay.
They're all aged up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you could make
talking about Taylor Swift because we've been talking a lot about season
on the
2.
Lanai.
Yes.
Yeah,
I can't quite recall because we really were deep into shooting. And like you said, we did 25 episodes. So the schedule was a little relentless. Where was Taylor Swift in terms of like the fan fervor at that time? Because I knew she was a big get at the time, but she's done nothing but like kept, ascending since then.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, she's in a different universe now. I think we can all agree, like what's happened, especially in the last couple of years. Like she's in her own orbit. And I mean that in the best way possible because she has just reached a level that very seldomly happens. But she was a huge get back in 2013 when she guest starred in the finale. And I remember that it was so hyped up and we wrote about it because it was, of course we wrote about it. I mean, we wrote about it every week, but like that episode in particular, we went all in on because it was the season finale. Taylor was guest starring. Cece's wedding doesn't happen. Nick and Jess end up, really making a go of it again. Winston is in a vent up top, like all these things are happening. But yeah, Taylor she was huge back then. That was a huge get. She and Prince are the two names that we always think about when we think of New Girl guest stars. And you guys had so many guest stars that, I mean, it's truly insane. And you didn't even need them either. That's the thing. And Liz Merriweather, I remember, was telling me at one point that she didn't want to do a lot of stunt casting because you didn't need it. We came to see you guys. We didn't come to see the stunt casting. But the fact that, I'm sorry, you had Prince and Taylor Swift on your show, aside from all these other people, like it's just insane when you really do think about it. So Taylor was a big, big deal then. And that was 2013, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's funny. You made the Friends comparison. And then I think about the huge stars that were on Friends too, but they didn't need it either. It's really funny. It's like people wanted to come and play because they were just fans of the show. Like a lot of those were incoming calls.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Or
Yeah.
quick yeses from people that didn't do any other like network comedy acting. They just really wanted to jump into this weird little world that they were fans of.
To come on.
It's fun to see.
Yeah.
It's fun to when you do look back and you look at the Olivia Rodrigos of the world, and you look at folks who not started on New Girl, but obviously Ron Funches, for example, they've then since become these stars, and they were all a part of the New Girl family. It reminds me of like Sesame Street in a way, where you go, oh man, all these people were on Sesame Street. They were all like, really? Michael B. Jordan was on Sesame Street? You go, yeah. Like that's kind of wild to me to think about our show that way, because over the years, I find people that will come up to me, actors who might not even be big names like Taylor Swift or Olivia Rodrigo or Prince, but they would go, hey man, I was in this episode of New Girl. I was the guy who said this in the car, or I was the guy at the convenience store. We did a scene together in the restaurant. And it's so many people. And then when you think back about it, you go, man, when you think back on it, you go, man, that's a...
I mean, maybe Jessica will relate to this. I always say we're like the Law and Order
we've done
of
over
LA.
150
Like in New
episodes.
York, every actor is
Yeah.
like, I did a Law and Order episode, and everybody somehow feels like so many actors are connected to the New Girl universe.
Do you know the one actor that Liz Merriweather wanted to guest star and she told me she wasn't able to get? Do you guys know who that was?
I know Bruce Willis, they did try to
Bruce
get.
Willis?
It was true. Bruce Willis was supposed to come and
Do
be
you
on
have
the show.
any idea?
I do remember that. And I was so devastated.
Bruce Willis?
No, who?
I think he just didn't show
Get
up.
out.
Didn't show up.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Sarah Silverman. Silverman. No.
He said no.
I
love
don't even
Sarah
think there was a
Silverman.
no. It was just scheduling didn't work out or something. So... yeah, I think that's so funny. I
We
mean, Sarah
figured it
Silverman's
out. We
amazing,
figured
but
it
I'm
out.
Sorry, still,
It was
when you
for
have
the Prince
Prince and
episode.
Taylor Swift,
But
like,
it worked
Sarah,
out.
you're dead to me. You hear that?
yeah. Oh my God, I love that. I do have to say though, the thing that's so interesting is that as a journalist, you get very close to the cast of shows that you write about and work with and everything, but you rarely stay connected with them after a show ends. And Lamorne has remained, like, he's in my life forever. He's remained one of my dearest friends. Like, I love him. And Hannah, anytime I see you, it's like no time has passed. And it's just, there's a special bond with you guys. And there was just something, no matter how successful you got, you all remained so level-headed about it all. And I think that was one of the most beautiful things about it being the ensemble that it was too, is that you all recognized what you had, which was really cool. And I mean, I still see it now. I was talking to Lamorne at an Emmy party this past January, and the amount of people that just kept coming up to him like throughout the night just to talk about like New Girl and stuff. It's really incredible. I get it. It just, it was something that really touched a lot of people and stayed with them through these years.
I will say, like, it's interesting because, none of us, especially like, Lamorne and myself and Jake, like it had been on anything that had this level of success. So we were all kind of born into that world together. And it's a little overwhelming and you're figuring it out on your feet. It's a massive learning curve. And it was the true gift to have, because we did a lot of press all the time, nonstop. But it was the true gift to have journalists like yourself who we knew were a safe space, because we would walk those carpets and you're talking to people and sometimes you don't know if someone has an agenda or not. And then you would, it was always just like the greatest relief to see you come on set or to see you on a carpet or to know that, oh, you have this phoner and it's with Jessica, because you could just breathe a little bit and your shoulders would drop and you would just know, oh, it's going to be a good time. And they have the best interests of like myself and the show at the heart of it, which is really nice because it's, things can be taken out of context or, out of pocket questions are being asked about someone's personal life. And there was just a few people, and I think that's why these friendships still stand today.
Right.
Because it was so genuine.
Right.
It's, you know what I mean? After a decade of it, it's something that was real and true. So we're really grateful for you too.
That is very, very sweet. Your check's in the mail, Hannah, or I'll Venmo you. As they say now. That was in 2012. I could be like, the check is in the mail. Now I'm going to be like, I'm going to Venmo you after this.
Yeah. But even talking about the relationships with some of the cast members outside of the show, like you said, Jessica, you and I, we've stayed in communication and we hang out here and there, and we've been, really good friends for
My
years.
mother took you to dinner. Remember when you went
Yes.
to dinner with my mom?
Yes. So I mean, like it's not only about the show, but even in endeavors outside of the show, it's great to have someone that genuinely cares about your path as well, not just on that one particular show. Always giving me advice on this or that, or helping me with this or that, or and vice versa. Even
Mainly women.
mainly women, but I've given you relationship advice too.
You really have.
I've been trying to hook you up with Kyle for so long.
Where's Kyle?
What the hell?
I've been trying to hook you up with Kyle for so long.
Kyle.
Look, he's sitting over
right.
there. Cute Jewish boy with thick
This is
sideburns.
the big meet cute
Isn't that right,
happening on the
Kyle?
podcast.
He's
I do
Cuban,
have
too.
some stories for you lately. We'll have to talk about this after this podcast, Lamorne.
Let's unpack it right here on That's Around. I know you talked a
Forget
lot
the
of,
New Girl rewatch. We'll talk about my dating life.
but I know you talked a lot about the comparison to Friends. During this time, there were a lot of big shows. There was obviously The Big Bang Theory. Girls was a thing, like a big hit show. Two Broke Girls, How I Met Your Mother, Happy Endings. All these shows, and to me, this was it's kind of a golden era in TV because all these shows are fantastic. All these shows are great. Not saying one's better than the other, but what made New Girl stand out? What was, in your opinion, having covered a lot of these shows, what would you say was the difference between our show or, let's say, a Big Bang Theory?
I'll tell you exactly what it is because I was reminded of this as I was watching it last night. It is the honesty in which these characters were portrayed. A lot of the times we saw Schmidt and Winston and Nick as these like man children. We got to see them be very vulnerable in ways that we hadn't seen in a while, but it wasn't just pure silliness. There was always truth at the very heart of it. And that's what made it so interesting. And I think, Big Bang was a different show. It was multicam. You guys, obviously shot New Girl differently. Also, you're dealing with characters on Big Bang that a lot of them were socially stunted in a way that you could say there was still a lot of social, social awkwardness on New Girl, but it was a different kind. But the way in which it was all portrayed and the honesty in which you guys all talked about relationships and career stuff and your worries, we hadn't really seen that in a way that mixed the emotion with the humor. Usually so many shows will go just straight for the laugh, but you had to care about these characters first. And that's what New Girl did better than any other romantic comedy sitcom, was that you truly cared where these people would be, where they would wind up, and what you all brought to it was just, again, it's kind of boring to keep saying over, but it's so true. Like if anybody else was doing these roles, it would not have clicked the way that it did. You guys brought so much to it in the performances from the writing. I really do think New Girl stood out above a lot of other shows that were popular at that time because of the way in which these characters were written, that you truly cared about their well-being in ways that you cared about certain other characters, but maybe not in that same way.
Yeah. You talk a lot about, well, not a lot, but you spoke about appointment TV and how it was one of those shows that people would, DVR, they'd all gather around, they'd have watch parties, things like that. But during the pandemic, we saw that streaming became a thing where you could just kind of sit back and binge it. And during that time, New Girl, along with a few other shows, became, it was almost, there was this resurgence as if the show were brand new. To a lot of folks, to this day, I get people that, in their early 20s that will say, hey, are you guys doing another season of New Girl?
Like, we love your Netflix show.
They don't mean
New Girl. Now
a reunion.
Show,
they mean,
New Girl.
Is
they
there a,
think
is
it's
there
a brand new streaming show that has not ended yet.
Right.
Please put that on a t-shirt.
Well, I get
please.
it because you
That'd
all look the same too, which I'm going to need all of your skincare routines because
We're
this
both
is the
like,
thing.
wait a minute.
If you guys looked so much older, which is also wonderful, I could understand. I could be like, okay, what are these people? Jake looks older. I could understand why it would be a little weird if viewers are like, when is the next season coming out? But you all look the same. Like, I need your skincare routines because you could put all of you back into this show as if you hadn't, like, no time has passed. And I would believe that it was just, season 8?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
That's a good question.
Listen, Jessica.
Coffee.
Yeah,
it's a lot of coffee.
What are you drinking over there?
Maintained herself with coffee.
Both of you.
That's true. I remember
It's been that way since New Girl. Actually, funny thing, I wasn't drinking coffee prior to New Girl. I was not. And then these early call times, waking up early, I was like, you know what? By lunch, I'm legit passed out in my trailer. So tired. And then people would go, have you had espresso? I go, well, what the F is that? And then they had the little machine in there, and so I just kind of got used to
a very good episode because
cool,
there's so much coffee talk that happened
weird,
on our set.
Lattes.
Where you got your coffee, how you drank your coffee, what were the rules around the coffee. Max was usually at the center of it. He was like our big coffee fiend who had like, not shockingly, but he had like a lot of rules about how it was supposed to happen, and if not, you were just like disgusting. Yes.
Oh my God. Wait, speaking of Max, do you want to hear a funny story that I remember too, going back into all this? I will never forget. I don't even know how this happened, but it was season 2, I believe. I was told that I was going to be taking a Soul Cycle class with Max Greenfield in interviewing.
Yes.
Were you there for
I
that?
Was there. He called me an hour before. I raced over. I know this because I think you took a picture of Max and I look so sweaty and out of sorts because I'm not a workout person. And he looked great because he loved to work out and he was so happy with the turnout and everything. Oh my gosh, I remember this. Okay, sorry, continue.
This is so funny. Also, you look amazing just getting out of bed, I'm sure. So I don't want to hear this. Like you did, seriously.
You know what? Actually, I have to say this to Lamorne. I'm proud of you.
For telling the truth.
We talked about this. Stop lying to women. Tell them the truth. It's okay. Tell the truth. It's okay. Tell the truth. Okay. We're working on these things in real life, Jessica. Real life things with this man.
Oh my God.
It's okay. He can say I look like a monster in the morning. It's okay. I can hear it. I can take it. I understand with this man. I love it. Oh my God. So I remember we were doing this interview with Max and they told us it was going to be on camera for Glamour. We were recording it. I've never taken a damn Soul Cycle class in my life. I'm mainly like a treadmill or elliptical girl. I don't do Soul Cycle. Well, you had to do it on the bike during the class?
A microphone in the other, trying not to fall off. Granted, I'm not even moving. I'm just sitting. So wait, well, I didn't understand this part. This is where it got crazy. Is then they're like, well, we need you to pedal. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? You want me to actually work out with him while interviewing him at the same time? And they're like, yeah, that's the point of it. And I was just, that must have been the equivalent of like rubbing your stomach, patting your head, and I don't know, trying to do leg lifts at the same time. But I was just like, what am I being asked to do? I nearly fell off of it. I don't even know what I said to him. Like, it was just a mess because I thought I just had to sit on the bike and do this interview.
That
I didn't
was
know I actually
also
had to
my only Soul Cycle class, too.
and
I was like,
I've
that
never
was
gone
so
back.
hard. I will say the music
what's
he chose.
experience
That was
like
the end
that?
of
I
it.
do remember. I was like, man, this is a DJ.
Look,
Was
good
it?
Music.
But that was a big thing then. Really? I blinked. I just, I have no memory anymore of anything else. I was like, this is too much. This is taking it too far.
It's moments like that make you quit exercise. And I took one cycle class, but it was a hot cycle class. Hot cycling. It was like the room.
Why did you do that to yourself?
Because I was like, who cares? It's a bike. I'll crush this. I was dead in 5 minutes. And it was a 45-minute class. And I'm like, I gotta do this for another 40 minutes. So I never went back. Yoga. The one yoga class I took was a hot yoga class.
I'm seeing a trend.
Never went back. The one Pilates class I took was a hot Pilates class. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You are
I'm not gonna lie to
making
you.
some
Whenever I see the
correlation.
title on like the website, hot
Here,
yoga,
you live
I'm
in
thinking it's
LA,
gonna be
you're
me and
going to a
bunch of
workout
hot
class.
women.
All hot
So
ladies.
that's why
Whether
I
it's
went.
cold or hot, warm.
That's
what
what I
beautiful
thought.
women. So you don't need to go to the hot class.
Yeah, and none of them were checking.
You're a
for
weak
me
dead
because I
man. It's
was
not working
dead.
for you.
You can't
That's
date
why
a
you're
dead
still
man.
single.
You can't date a weak
my-
dead man, and that's what I was doing.
God.
A weak dead man. Never been back.
Wait, I have a question for you guys. During the pandemic, when people started rewatching New Girl, some for the very first time, we had Instagram in 2012, 2011, but it wasn't what it is now.
Yeah, it just started.
Did you guys notice a huge uptick in followers or messages in your social media over these last few years? Because now this was a way for fans.
Didn't I help you sign up, Lamorne? I feel like, didn't I help you? It was Hipstamatic. It wasn't even Instagram. Remember, wasn't it called Hipstamatic? It was, and it was like a little Polaroid looking camera was the app.
Ooh,
That's what it looked like.
idea.
Like that was the thumbnail. And I think it was called Hipstamatic. And I think, I don't know, but a few
Yes.
cast members literally signed up in that
Yes.
first year because we were like, I guess we should get this to maybe document and share. And no, we did not have a lot of followers to begin with. And then it just, it skyrocketed because we were sharing things from the show. And this is before you
it
could
shot
do
up for
stories
sure.
or anything. So it's just the grid.
Just a picture and a caption. I remember the thing I remember about that moment was
Oh yeah, the
them saying that we need
verification
you guys to get on
process
social
was
media
intense.
and we need you to follow all these rules in order to get verified.
Like, we know a guy.
And I didn't know
It's
what
fine. We'll
it
call
was.
someone.
Yeah, I was like, "What do you mean? What does that mean?" They're like, well, we got to know it's you. Yeah, and I'm like, well, it's me. They're like, well, how do we know it's you? Because I'm telling you it's me. Like, well, how do fans know it's you? There's a picture of me. Yeah.
It was such a
Yeah,
big thing. And
that was a
somebody
whole
already
thing.
had my name.
My
And I
first
remember,
post on
I mean,
Instagram
wasn't that a
was of
big
I'd
thing?
read some
Oh,
article,
yeah, now
maybe it was in
everybody
Glamour,
has one.
about how Kanye West couldn't get his name either. And so he called his account The Real Kanye West. So I was like, oh, I guess that's what you do if somebody's already taken your name. And so that's why mine is still called The Real Hannah Simone. That's all yay. That's all Yeezy. Yeezy taught me.
Yeah,
He
it-
confuses me
God.
for Kim
Fun fact:
Kardashian.
Hannah and Yeezy.
Lamorne
had a
does, and so he
long-term,
likes to tell this story.
relationship. That's
And that
why
is not
he
true.
gave her
That was
these
not me. That is
tips.
another woman that he married and had children with. That is not me. Lamorne, we keep talking about this. That's not true.
Oh my.
Not true. I just learned that thing about
Same,
Instagram through an
same.
article.
Same.
Oh
Tomato,
my
tomato.
God. I just think we all hit
This
it
is
off.
true. And I almost,
Listen, I think we all hit it off because me, Hannah, and Zoe
I
all
think
had
there
bangs.
is truth to it. We were all babies with bangs.
That's
trying to
why.
figure out this
That's my
crazy
theory.
industry.
Well, my hairline disagrees with me often. So sometimes it's normal, sometimes it's LeBron James. So I don't quite know what it's doing. But
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna grow
live
it
as
out for a roll or
flashback
something,
Winston
and then I'm gonna put some dreadlocks
your latter
that
years.
hang down here, and then I'll bang those up.
I'm okay with that
So,
too.
like-
It was a good look.
Yes, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
By the way, do you remember when we went on a date, Lamorne, for Glamour, for the On a Date series? And we went to this like Benihana type restaurant. And I put you in a chef's hat at the, like, where they made, do you remember this?
I remember it was off of Sunset, right?
It was off of Sunset, but also, Hannah, this was the craziest thing. So we had this series called On a Date With, and I would take guys on a like fake date, and we would find out and ask them all the questions that our readers would want to know. So since at the time, Lamorne and I lived like 2 minutes away from each other. It was like, I'll pick you up and we'll go to the restaurant. He kept me waiting in the car for 20 minutes. I was so pissed heading into this fake date. I was like, would you do this on a real date where you were making the girl late? Do you remember this?
I don't remember being late, but that's
Oh, he was late.
That's kind of, were you outside of my house?
Uh-huh.
And you know, I know what happened. I know exactly what happened. And I can explain it to
yes,
you.
please explain.
I was filming.
Filming
something-
what?
This charitable thing where I was just giving back to the community. And the community needed me.
That's where...
Because the community needs a hero.
That's where he's going to get us.
I've literally praised you
and I
on
was
this
just being a
podcast
hero,
today
and I can't
for
be in
learning
two
to
places at
not
once. I've
lie
tried.
when you feel panic.
I've tried, and sometimes it can be done.
And you see what's happening right now. Tell the truth. Say your brand is late. Your brand is being late.
No, I'm just saying the city
This is also true.
the city needed a hero, Hannah.
You
the city
forgot.
needed me.
He was playing basketball. That's what he was probably doing.
That's also plausible. Yes,
Yeah.
I
And I was
apologize
going to say, you're
for
so
that.
lovable that I totally like, you know, once you get in the car, it's like, oh, it's Lamorne. Like, I love this guy, like, whatever. But yeah. But here you had to make up this whole thing about how you were giving back to the community. And that's why I was sitting in the car for 20 minutes.
Which is also funny because no one gives back to the community probably actually more than you. You're the most generous human ever. But it was not in this scenario. I'm going to sit there and say it's a fact.
So
I
that's
would
what
know.
I'm saying. It was probably me. I was probably passing out turkeys.
I
on
can see your
Thanksgiving.
lying eyes.
Turkeys.
Okay, Hannah.
Wait, what's the best gift that you've ever received from Lamorne, Hannah?
I don't.
I was going to say, I knew.
I do know.
I don't know.
Actually, I do know. I will say this. He gave me something I don't even know if I really want to share. It's private and very sweet. It was for a family member. It was just like, he's just so thoughtful. Lamorne is actually one of the most thoughtful gift givers that I've ever met. But I will say this is the greatest thing about being in a friendship with Lamorne, and we've talked about this, is Lamorne is the friend that shows up. No matter what it is, if you have a birthday party, you have a book launch, if you, whatever, having a dinner and your parents are coming and you're just like, I'm going to invite some friends. If you invite Lamorne, if he's not, out of the city, he will always show up, which is like, that's like the opposite of me. No, it's the opposite of me. I don't show up for anything, which I feel like is like, that's a good way to roll. Like if you're not going to show up, you can't show up for anything. Otherwise it looks like you're picking and choosing. But I'm such an introverted house cat. I just don't go out. So I'll be like, I love you, but I'm not coming. And they're like, love you. We totally understand that about you. Which is why we make such a funny pair. But that's one of my favorite things about Lamorne is that, if you call him and say, can you come? He's always like, I got you. I'll be there.
My bar mitzvah, Hannah.
That's true.
Hannah was supposed to come
that is true.
do a song. She didn't show up for that either, and she did paid. She had been paid. My Kyle, what's the Jewish word for like grandma?
Baba and Zeta.
Baba? Nana. My Nana.
Is Kyle answering you?
Yeah,
Does Kyle know?
Yeah, he knows, but he's pretending he doesn't because he's also Cuban.
Oh, okay.
So he's like trying to get me Cuban. Like my Nana. My Bubba, is that a thing? My Nana.
Sure, Bubby.
My Bubby paid Hannah.
She wanted a private show.
$45,000 to show up to my bar mitzvah.
It's a different
and Hannah did
thing.
not show up. Hannah, you want to explain? Grandma.
You realize you guys could take this act on the road. You should go to bar and bat
It's a
mitzvahs
comeback.
all
It's a
over the
comeback.
country, especially since these young 13-year-olds are watching New Girl now
are.
on Hulu.
I think we just hired a
guys
manager.
should
I don't know what just
you
happened,
could
but
make
Jessica,
so
you're
much
hired.
money this way.
Trying to
Book us on the bar mitzvah
I'm there,
tours.
but like Hannah just said, she won't show up. Yeah, if you could set that up, Jessica.
That's what we'll do. We'll go on a tour around America, and I'll let you guys run loose at the bar and bat mitzvahs. It'll be fantastic.
You want to go on tour? Jessica, you want to go on
By the
tour
way,
with
this is
us?
not a terrible idea.
Yes,
that we
and
go
then
on
I'll write
tour
the book
and do
with
this
you
live,
guys
and
in
Jessica, you come
between
along with us.
the bar and bat mitzvah celebrations.
I'm
Yes.
very into this.
This is great.
I'd
Right.
like to see him try.
I like this.
We're done.
Yes.
And then Lamorne's going to make grilled cheese sandwiches for us too. I like how we planned all of this.
You guys trying to get paid or what?
Wait, did you also ever wear the backpack
I mean, this
that
is
Zoe
a good
gave you?
hand-me-down for
Yes.
Lily.
I used to travel
The
with it.
sparkly one?
It's a good hand-me-down
travel
for
with
Lily. If it's a sparkly
Did
backpack.
you really?
Yeah. I'm still, listen, I'm a LeBron
It's not a
fan.
joke.
Was that pillow still over there?
LeBron
I'm a
and Beyonce.
fan. Like people think this is a joke.
No, it's not. You are obsessed with him.
Yeah, that's true.
And
This is also true.
yeah, Beyonce has since like written a letter telling me to like stop contacting her and this is illegal and I was like, all right. I
What
get it.
is on that pillow? Oh, Jesus. It's LeBron.
Yeah.
James? Get that. Just in case
That
you
actually,
you sleep like this.
it's a
and then you
little
roll over.
scary. It looks like a potato that you drew on, you know?
It looked like Wayne Brady
you
for a while.
We got it.
Do you keep
We're
that
gonna
out
do
when
a
girls come
walkthrough
over?
of the house and just
Yeah, I
start
gotta get them
helping you.
excited somehow.
Wow. Okay.
They see LeBron and they go, ooh, and I go, surprise, it's me. And they go, oh, I
That's what
guess.
you expected, Jessica, when you got
guess.
to hang out with us today.
Cool. He loves me.
Oh my.
This is the right move.
God.
No
That's so
expectations. That's right.
I honestly had no expectations because I knew that this could go off the wall. Wait,
sorry.
what would you, I want to play interviewer for a second. And I'm very curious, knowing what you all do now, what would you go back and tell yourselves at the beginning of your first day on set?
Ooh, I would tell myself that you're not going to get fired.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
be
Facts.
bold
I think
and be
it's
big
so
and be
funny.
weird.
so many
starting day
people
one.
tell you that from the beginning. Oh, I know this person who joined the show or joined a show, and then they got fired after the first season. And so you really are just trying to not screw up so deeply that it almost inhibits you. And as we've been doing this rewatch, we kind of watch ourselves and go like,
Right.
man, I wish I leaned into that more. I wish I had gotten a little weirder in this thing. But that's what's missing, I feel like, now in TV, is a lot of shows aren't given the gift of time to figure it out. And so New Girl, I mean, yeah, it came out hot. And that first season is amazing.
Right.
And we got better and better and better just because we as actors could feel more comfortable. And then we knew that we were solid in our jobs. And that all of a sudden gave us massive freedom. It also let our real life friendships like deepen,
Right.
which means we had so much more trust and like knowing what the other person was going to do. And I feel like that's what's really just changed in the state of television, is that a lot of shows aren't given the gift of time.
Well, they film a whole season at once before it comes out.
Yep.
So they don't
Yep.
get that privilege
Yeah, and that feedback.
to watch it somewhat in real time, you know? I am curious though too, because as I noticed in rewatching things, the dialogue was so fast paced and you guys, you had to keep up with it because that's how these scenes worked so well. How did you memorize your lines? How hard was that for you? Did you have any tricks?
For me, mine is just my mnemonic device is just repetition. That's what it. That's what it would be. It was. I would sit down with a friend of mine, and we would just go over it and go over it, go over it, and I would only do that the night before. So I wouldn't spend so much.
Really?
Yeah, the night before, and I would just get it. So I was just off book. That I would run it without the script one time. If I can land it verbatim one time without the script, I stop right there, and then I don't look at it again until we rehearse the next morning, because I want it to feel somewhat fresh, and I want to leave room for improv because we improvise a lot on the show. So I want to leave room where I'm not so glued to the words.
And it's
Also
harder to
because Liz
unmemorize.
changes
Once
things
it's
on the
locked in
fly.
your
And we
brain
get
and
there
they
sometimes
change
day
3
of, the
words,
pages
that's
are
actually,
slightly
I
different.
find trickier
So
than to sit
Exactly.
there and just to learn it fresh. I do remember many times sitting in the hair and makeup
yeah.
chairs next to each
100%.
other, running lines with each other just to help each other out. Even if it wasn't your scene or whatever, could you just help me? Or going into Lamorne's trailer, because we shared like a double trailer. So I'd go into his side and running lines if we needed to. It was for a bigger scene. I do that. We were all very helpful with each other. We all really were team show. And that, I think, is what was really helpful. We also knew that there was a lot of dialogue and fast dialogue, and it would change. So we gave each other, I think, like a lot of help and a lot of grace around it to find it, because things would change so often. So that was really nice. There wasn't a lot of impatience within the cast, I think. If it took you a second to figure it out or to remember it, we had each other's backs in a real way when it came to like learning lines or like pitching each other jokes for improv,
Right.
telling people what could be funny to try it out. That was also really nice. It was super supportive that way.
Oh, yeah. So it made it easy. There was no pressure to be off book. The only person I would say who had somewhat that amount of pressure was Max Greenfield, because the Schmidt character had a lot of big monologues with specific words and things that were only directly related to Schmidt. So, you know, a lot of us would have a lot of overlap with isms and things that we would say, but Schmidt dialogue was very specific to him, and no one else would speak that way. So he would have to be off book, and he would improvise a lot too, but a lot of it for him, I would say most of it was him having to be word perfect with some of these monologues.
Like all the Romney children, I remember that he had to like list all of them. And I remember him getting so frustrated because it's not something that you can improv around.
Oh my God, yes.
Right? You had to know it and say it super fast, couched in all this other dialogue and story that you had to give. He really, I mean, So that was, but then that's where the rest of us have to just be like patient and supportive and given the time and space to get there, because he probably got handed that the night before or the morning of, and it's a lot to get stuck in your brain. So, I mean, that's just a credit to him.
Yeah. And to watch him get frustrated when he didn't was still, till this day, it's still one of my favorite things to witness. Because when
you have to let him work through it. Just let him work through it. Get to the other side.
He'll screw up his line and he'll go.
What did he do?
He will just look at it. He will just look at the floor and go, "Damn it, Max! Damn it, Max!" He's so upset with himself.
Oh my God!
But it was such a loose and fun set that there was no pressure in it. Max is like, you know, he's a Schmidt. It's one of the best
but
TV
that's family
characters of all
too,
time.
right? You know what I mean? We're like, oh, there he is. He's getting annoyed at himself. Okay, everybody.
But we were all just having fun.
Give him a second. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Again, the gift of time. That's what I always talk about with New Girl. I feel like that was one of the greatest things. They just let us. People have favorite seasons, stronger episodes, and we just knew that like our life didn't hang in the balance with it. We just kind of knew that we were going to keep going, and that is why like the fandom and the journalists that supported us and kept like giving it all this information and behind the scenes stories to the fans is really like the foundation of this show. Because without that support and the cry for more episodes and the cliffhangers and people just writing throughout the summer, what's going to happen next? What does season 3 look like? That's how we knew we could have that job security. So much of it is in people like you. So thanks, Jessica. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys. I truly do love you both so much. The others, but you know, it's. I'm kidding. But no, there's always been. But seriously, there's always been something so special about the two of you, but all of you too, because we did all come up together, I feel like. And it was so fun. Also, this show was the perfect audience for Glamour. Like it was everything that we covered, it was everything that we talked about. And it was just so nice to see it play out in such a fun, but also heartfelt way.
Right.
That's what people want, you know? So I'm glad that people watch it now on Hulu. And I do want there to be another season because you guys haven't aged. So, you know, really.
Just saying, I'm still 27. So.
Oh, okay.
So thank you. I just, you know.
Just a little gray cat.
I mean, Ferguson probably looks
crawling through
his age now, but
that
you
boy
know.
Old. That boy got a walker and everything. Well,
That's what it'll be.
Jessica, thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh my
very, very
goodness.
much so for being here. That's the show, folks. We would love for you to join us on Tuesday to recap season 3, episode 01, All In. So go to our website, check out our merch. You can follow us on Instagram, The Mess Around Pod. If you have a question, you want to leave us a voicemail, etc., feel free to email us at themessaroundpod@gmail.com. And if you want to, perhaps go on a lovely date with myself or Jessica.
Can I give out your number now?
Yeah, sure. 555.
Okay, let me pull it up. 555 655 8012. Lamorne at your service.
That's right.
Lamorne vets
You want
all
me
the
on that
guys
team.
for me, though, so he doesn't give out my number.
Yeah, I refuse.
Hannah can vet them, too.
I vet them with a shotgun.
Yeah, I really do. Lamorne.
I know. We'll see you on tour. This is going to be great.
It's fine. It's fine. It's all good. I can't wait for our Bar and Bat Mitzvah tour. This is so. I'm really there for the
bye,
food, too.
roomies. Bye.
Give me good food. I'll show up anywhere.